Hey folks, this is Alan Wolf at Your Source News, and I'm here this morning with Chad Evans. He's our Chief Merchant, Vice President of Merchandising for AVB Brand Source.
Yep.
Hey, yours is one of the interviews that I look forward to the most because I consider myself a student of the industry, so I'm looking forward to asking you your take on the current marketplace conditions. Now, obviously, we've just been through historic, unsustainable levels of business, traffic, sales, and now we're sort of paying the price for all that business.
Well, I think it's all relative. If you look at the fact that, starting back in 2019 where business was,
Yeah.
right? And since that point, business has grown 50+%, depending on what industry you're in.
Okay.
And so even taking a little bit of a step back this year, we're seeing some slowing in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Not terrible slowing.
Okay.
But we're seeing some slowing. But even with that, to be where we are today compared to where we had forecasted to be at the end of 2019, I feel like a lot of dealers and myself, we feel very fortunate because it's been quite a ride. And, just like anything, if something goes up exponentially like it has, there's always going to be a little bit of a reset. And I think we're going through a little bit of a reset now. But the future's bright, and as has been said during the show, this opens up lots of opportunity for our retailers to not only survive the reset, but actually win and continue to gain market share like we've done during the last 2.5 years.
Yeah. Well, so what's happening on the supply side, though? Again, we've been through tremendous upheavals with the pandemic period, catch up, and now things have caught up. Where do we stand? Are things approaching anything that resembles normal?
I would say approaching, right? There's certain categories, whether it's home furnishings or appliances, where we're seeing actually excess inventory because manufacturers have spent the last couple of years building capacity to catch up with the huge amount of back orders that started during the pandemic, and now we're seeing that glut of inventory kind of hit the marketplace. So we're seeing actually in some cases price reductions or discounts for dealers to bring in product, but at the same time there's still categories that aren't back to normal. So we're still kind of in this weird space where there's lots of inventory over here, but maybe not so much in this category. And so we're still kind of navigating that. And I anticipate that we're going to navigate that through, next year as well, because there's still categories that are going to be probably first quarter, second quarter of 2023 before we actually see more, I'll say, normal, inventory levels. But the positive thing is, lots of the back orders are being filled, and consumers that have been waiting for 6 to 8 months, maybe even a year for product, are now getting their products. And so the stress levels are coming down a little bit at retail because of that.
Plus the pace. I hear.
Yeah, the pace is slow too. So they've been going 1 million miles an hour the last 2 years. Very few breaks and lots of stress, like I said, with consumers wanting answers of where their product is and not really having answers for that. And now that's kind of starting to slow down. So I think the overall mood that I'm feeling here at the show is very, very positive, and I think that's part of it.
Okay. Now, I flunked out of Economics 101, but I do remember them talking about supply and demand. Now, if supplies are up and demand is softening, to me that suggests a very promotional fourth quarter. Is that what you see in your tea leaves?
I don't think there's any doubt that what we've seen, and it really started from what I can see. Memorial Day was very promotional, not only in the independent channel, especially in the big box channel. 4th of July followed suit. Anticipating Labor Day is a little bit more subdued, but I do anticipate the fourth quarter is going to be very aggressive on all fronts, because you got this interesting conundrum where you got retailers that their business is off, especially in the big box channel. Their business has been off, and so they're going to be ultra promotional and pull that lever to try and get consumers to buy.
Like a wounded animal.
Yeah, like a wounded animal. Exactly, that's a good way of putting it. And then you also have manufacturers that have excess inventory, so the lever that they pull is promotion. So you got two sides really pushing promotion. So fourth quarter is going to be very aggressive, and that's one of the reasons we're telling retailers You got to make sure that you're advertising at a high level, and you got to make sure you're promoting at a high level, so that we can maintain the market share gains that we've gained over the last couple of years.
And it would probably behoove members to move whatever inventory they have now in their warehouses, whatever they can get out.
Oh, absolutely.
Get it out.
Absolutely, because there's going to be opportunities. We're already seeing it here at this show, and a lot of retailers have taken advantage of the awesome deals that manufacturers have brought, whether it was a Stampede or the fast cash offers. So we're seeing huge orders, no doubt about it. But it is going to be imperative that retailers get the excess inventory out of their barns, because there's going to continue to be those opportunities, and you don't want to get stuck with old overpriced goods.
Any last words of advice as we conclude the 2022 Brand Source Convention?
Well, I had an opportunity to kind of address the group before the Stampede, and I guess the 3 points that I gave, and I know this kind of ties in with what leadership had said, is focus on getting your inventory. We just talked about that, getting your inventories in line, making sure your marketing budgets are in line with your sales, what they are today,
Right.
not what they were pre-pandemic, because we saw obviously a lot of people cut back because they didn't have to advertise, nor could they advertise because they didn't know what they were going to have in
True.
stock to advertise.
That's right.
So get your advertising in line from a budget standpoint, use your co-op, all those things. And then last but not least is promote. There's lots of tools that the group offers, that manufacturers are offering, whether it be consumer rebates, consumer financing, those types of things to really drive the message, drive consumers to websites and into the stores. So really focus on those things, and they're probably the most basic things, and things we did before the pandemic. Kind of stopped doing some of those things during the pandemic because it was all about he or she who had inventory won. Didn't matter what the price was. If you have it, I'll take it.
Or what the piece was.
Or what in some cases, like, well, I don't want that piece, but that's good enough. We'll take it. So it's going back to the basics, I guess, is really what it comes down to. And we've, for lack of a better term, we've kind of forgotten some of those things.
Yeah.
And, rightfully so, because that's what the pandemic did to us. But it's back to the basics of retail 101, I guess.
Sage advice from Chad Evans.
I don't know about that.
Thank you, Chad. I really enjoyed our chat, as always.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
Have a great rest of the show.
Okay, thanks.